What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Will Brinson. I'm your host. It is, depending on whether you're watching live with us on YouTube, because we do go live immediately after every single primetime game, Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night. We have a live stream that you can watch along with us on YouTube, youtube.com/pick6. If you're watching right now, we see you. We know you're waiting out there. Hit the like button. I know it sounds silly, like, oh, do I need to hit the like button? Yes. If you're hanging out watching the stream, just press the like button and hit the subscribe button. Even my 7-year-old son knows that is critical for YouTube purposes. Now, joining me, actually, you know what? Before we get to that, I should point out that this podcast, the Pick Six Podcast, is presented by. Oh, yeah. That's right. The Pick Six Podcast presented by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Share a limited edition Bud Light team can with us as you listen or watch along. Head to budlight.com/delivery now to order. I've got my Panthers bottle right here. Oh, sorry, wrong camera. I've got my Panthers bottle right here. Undefeated Carolina Panthers. First place Carolina Panthers. You know who else has one? That's right. John Breech is rocking that Bengals bottle, the first place Cincinnati Bengals. Ryan, can you show us what a last place bottle looks like?
Yeah, right here.
The Browns in last place?
The irony of Wilson trying to dunk on you with a Baker Mayfield t-shirt.
Again, that's budlight.com/delivery to get yours. Obviously, we are recapping Thursday Night Football. It's a dumb story, but I'm essentially reading a very long-winded teleprompter, and it's kind of difficult right now. And obviously in the feed, week 4 picks. Again, youtube.com/pick6 live on Thursday or Sunday, Monday, Thursday, however you roll your weeks. I go Thursday, Sunday, Monday. And look, the people in the chat right now are congratulating John Breech for the W. Bengals take down the Jaguars 24-21. Breachapalooza. Before we get to all the information about it, how do you feel? Because you did at one point, some would say halftime when you were losing 14-0, potentially suggest that you would be in a different state of mind when you showed up for the podcast.
Brinson, 2 years ago, this team loses 57-0 if they're trailing 14-0 at halftime. This year's Bengals, I wasn't nervous at all. I'm kidding. My wife actually came down after the game, and I told us the first time I felt anxiety during a Bengals game in 4 years. I actually thought they were going to blow it and lose to Jacksonville because that was the most Bengals thing possible. We were all getting our primetime jokes out in the first half that, we took Andy Dalton out of Cincinnati, but they still play like crap in primetime. But, oh, my God, Brinson, I couldn't have scripted it any better if I had written this for a movie that they went on a field goal of all the things in the world. They're in first place now for the first time since week 5, 2018. That was also their biggest comeback since week 5, 2018. And I have my good luck Bud Light bottle here that I'm just cradling. Cradled the whole game. But I'm pretty ecstatic right now.
Pretending it was your God. The comment. A bunch of people like Breech in the comments on YouTube. That's exciting.
There's something to be said for being a decent person, Brinson. You could learn something from that. People are coming to Breech's defense. Benson, they get the Benson comment, but
people are excited because this lovable loser is 3-1, and he did.
Yeah, but I will say this: Breech isn't like trying to give it to every Bears fan that's ever said something derogatory
about
towards
my kid.
No, not every Bears fan said that.
Most of the people I give it to are like saying, I'm not like out here just blindly. This is not about me. This is about Breech. Okay, this is you. This is you trying to deflect from your anxiety of the Bengals being better than the Steelers.
In Wilson's defense, I feel like he came to that acceptance in about the third quarter last week.
Yeah, earlier. Trust me, earlier than that.
We might be getting angry Wilson this year.
No, I'm not. I am. We went through this with Philip Breech. You weren't on the podcast because you were on one of your 27 vacations. When Philip Rivers retired, we went through all the phases of what the phases of anger, acceptance, whatever it was. Remember that?
Denial,
grief.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm in whatever the last
more anger.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. But I legitimately happy for Breech. We won't see any passive aggressive Breech this year because the Steelers are already out of it. We'll just see happy Breech and anxious Breech.
Steelers.
Yeah, so there it is. Well deserved.
That's a good point. If Breech gets Breech, you get 10 days. Not 10 days of first place. You get 10 days of a tied first place. You're a big Vikings fan all of a sudden.
Well, I mean, look at who the AFC North plays this weekend. The Ravens play an undefeated Broncos team. The Browns play the
Lamar has a bad back.
2 games that the Browns and Ravens, they could easily lose this weekend. Easily. Completely possible.
What about the Steelers?
Well, I'm going to bring the Steelers up, Ryan, but I mean, I don't think anyone's betting on the Steelers to beat the Packers. Like literally no one. I haven't met anyone, and I've talked to people, a lot of people. None of them are betting on the Steelers.
That's
Sorry.
True.
I didn't want to
Breech
about it.
I'm fine with that.
I thought it was interesting. Joe Burrow came out to MVP chants. I thought it was more interesting that the Bengals went into halftime down a substantial number of points, 14-0. Should have been 21-0. I would say
should have been 21-3, but Breech's favorite player missed a field goal.
That's right. The Bengals missed a field goal in the first half. It was pretty obvious what the problem was. Sorry for the shaking my camera there. I was trying to close a bunch of smash that like button. If you like John Breech being happy and you like me being miserable, smash that like button.
And if you just like half those things, smash the like button. You have to like both of them.
I thought it was pretty obvious that the Bengals came out with a really good game plan and a good script on the first drive. They were letting Joe Burrow dink and dunk. Tyler Boyd was picking up yards after the catch. You could throw downfield to the Jaguars all you want. It is free yardage if you want to throw on Jacksonville.
Free money.
And then they got down there and the drive stalled in the red zone. They ended up having to kick a field goal. They missed the field goal. Jacksonville goes down, I believe, scores on the next drive. And then for the rest of the half, Zach Taylor's whole plan was just jamming Joe Mixon in between the tackles, whether left, right, up the middle, whatever. It looked bad, man. And credit to the Bengals, I guess. Joe Burrow mentioned that they came out of the halftime and they decided to go empty set more often to spread it out and open it up. And they got whatever they wanted in the passing game. So I don't know whether to be excited for the Bengals that they figured it out in the second half or worried that Zach Taylor couldn't figure it out in the first half. What do you think?
Well, I think it all comes down to you have to beat bad teams. So if they lose this game, that's a catastrophe. That is an absolute catastrophe. That would have been vintage Bengals getting all excited and they lose a game they were supposed to win. And so the fact that they did rebound, that looks great on them. And you know what's funny? Of all the teams in the world that should not even be talking about trap games, it is the Bengals. It's a primetime game. It's in Cincinnati. But they played the Steelers last week. Huge rivalry, obviously. They want to beat Pittsburgh so bad because the Bengals win so often, 2 in a row. Oh, Brinson.
Up high, down hard. I'm sorry, I'm operating a different equipment setup here.
We fell asleep, Breech. Go ahead.
And then the Bengals
sleep. I can't see.
The Bengals play the Packers next week. So now you have these 0-3 Jags coming into town, and you're thinking, my God, this team blew a 19-10 lead at halftime to the Cardinals. They got blown out by the Houston Texans. There's no way we're going to lose. And you come out and fall flat on your face. And Brinson, what you said about the first half is absolutely true. You look at that first drive, Joe Burrow went 6 of 7 for 74 yards. The rest of the half, he went 2 for 5 for 21 yards. It's not even the 21 yards. It's they only threw 5 passes. And Joe Mixon had 5 runs for 14 yards and a half. So it's not like we're running a ton of plays, but there's no, I know coaches ideally love to have that 50-50 split, but when Jacksonville has a secondary that you can throw all over, you don't need a 50-50 split. You go 80-20 and then they adjust at halftime.
Zach Taylor treated this game like all of us were treating it, which is to say that he expected the Bengals to go score a touchdown in their first drive and then to stop the Jaguars. And then they were just going to feed Joe Mixon for the entire first half, melt clock, force Trevor Lawrence into bad situations. And the variable that he couldn't account for was that Urban Meyer, out of pure desperation to try and win a freaking football game, decided to actually use Trevor Lawrence's strengths to his benefit and run a bunch of RPOs and get Trevor Lawrence, use him in the running game on 3rd and short, use him in the red zone with the dude is 6'6" and runs like a 4.5. why hasn't this been happening longer? This is one of the staples of what Clemson did, was utilize Trevor Lawrence's legs, especially when the traditional offense wasn't working. And so that's what got Jacksonville going. Credit to the Bengals defense because they adjusted to it, and Lawrence was a lot less mobile in the second half. So again, like I don't want to. I mean, I think the Bengals were down 14-0 at half. Could have been 21-0. Could have been 21-3.
And that goal line stand was the game. I mean, like when you look back on it, if Jacksonville scores there, Cincinnati's not coming back and win this game.
No, that's not true.
I don't think you're scoring.
Breech, I know the Bengals way better than you. Trust me. Was your dad there at halftime, by the way?
He was.
Oh, that's good. You didn't talk about that.
Yeah, he had to watch a game-winning field goal. They honored the 40th anniversary of the Super Bowl 16 team.
That's cool.
Ha ha ha! They celebrated a team that lost in the Super Bowl. That's the most Bengals thing. But
no, at least he got to see. At least it wasn't an ass beating, so that's good. At least he got to see a win. And as you mentioned, Evan McPherson game-winning quick. So a couple things, Brinson, you're exactly right. I like the idea of using Trevor Lawrence more to run the ball. What I don't understand is why you ran that play on 4th and goal where it's sort of an RPO. He's 6'6", as you mentioned. He's 235. Go straight up the middle. But I mean, that's right. His wingspan
let him do the Drew Brees, but not at 5'9". I mean,
so that's idiotic. Number one, that was a concern for me. Number two, let me get the numbers right here. Tie ball game, 4th and 2. They're on the Cincy 38. They go for it. A very nice throw to Laviska Shenault. Keep the drive going. I think they eventually score. The 4th down decision pod created by Ben Baldwin says go for it there, slightly over kicking a field goal. Great. Then it's tied 4th and 4 at the 50-yard line with 5:40 to go in the 4th quarter, and you punt. And you're basically punting to lose.
What does the 4th down bot say there? Because here's my take on that.
Let me tell you.
I believe that was a 96 percentile surrender index punt.
That's exactly right. Here's what the 4th down bot says in terms of win percentage, Breech. You go for it, 43% chance you win. You punt it, 38% chance you win. If you are Cliff Kingsbury, kick a field goal, it's 27% chance you win from the 50.
So, and 5% is not a huge difference because I understand
it is a huge difference.
It's a pretty massive difference.
It's not the first quarter.
If this is 4th and 1, you go for it. But 4th and 4,
5% win probability is enormous.
Okay, well, can I explain why I don't think Meyer made a horrible decision?
Can you explain why you're bad at math? Please go ahead.
5%.
AK's like, she's like, there's a 98% chance this won't happen. She's like, what about the other 2%?
So at this point in the game, Jacksonville only had one timeout. So if they don't get this, you're almost surrendering the game because Cincinnati only needs to get one first down. And
you are 0-3. You've lost 19 games in a row.
But
what do you have to
only
lose?
Needs a field goal. You get 1 or 2 first downs, it's game over. You don't have any timeouts if you're Jacksonville. That's it. It's game over.
As Brinson noted, they could not stop the Bengals. There was no stopping the Bengals. Josh Allen was on the sidelines for the last 4 minutes of the game.
The idiots running the Bengals figured out, oh my God, if we pass, they can't stop us. They just start.
Well, I think that's what Urban Meyer was hoping. God, this coach was such a buffoon in the first half. Maybe he'll come back and do some dumb stuff in the second half.
Did you see him after the game? Urban's wandering around midfield. He's like, what does this guy look? Who is Zach Taylor? What does he look like? And who am I looking to give a handshake to?
Breech, you are punting there? You're okay with punting 4th and 4 tie ball game?
I am saying that I understand why he punted. I think that I would consider punting again, 4th and 1, 4th and 1 or 4th and 2. I'm definitely going for it. 4th and 4, I think, is more of I'm having more of a debate in my head.
Okay, well, that's why you're a loser. In general,
my team's in first place.
So our good friend of the podcast, good friend of the podcast, Jordan Dejani notes, and Pete Prisco quote tweeted him with a classic Prisco quote tweet. Wow, which you can see on YouTube again, youtube.com/pick6. If you're watching right now on the live stream, first of all, we do these live streams every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. If you're watching on the live stream, press the like button, smash that like button for Breech because he got a W. Anyway, Pete's silly retweet, which is just unnecessary. Just hit the retweet button. Urban is legitimately heartbroken, keeps talking about the good guys and good hearts he has in the locker room. Apologize to reporters because his, quote, head is spinning.
Okay. Hey, Brinson, let me ask you this because I know Breech is anxious. I think
sounds like he's getting ready to go to USC.
I'm
just saying if you know.
I got a question.
He has complained about dizziness in the past. I'm not going to do this. Sorry, go ahead.
Just stop talking. I have a very important question. So I said this after the 2020 draft, even before Trevor Lawrence had begun his junior season in Clemson.
I like this question.
Would you rather have Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence for the next 12 years or whatever it is? I said Joe Burrow, but even before Trevor Lawrence played his final season. Brady Quinn and Pete Prisco disagree with me. What do you say, Brinson? Knowing what you know now.
In a vacuum, I will take Trevor Lawrence, but I think it's very close.
Breech, I'm assuming you're going with Joe Breech Burrow.
I am going with Joe Breech Burrow.
Okay.
I don't want to bet
I think
against
it's close.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah. Oh, how about this? In fact, how about this for an ice cold take? I think it's a great ice cold take. Because all right, ice cold take presented by Bud Light. Let's say I'm the GM of the Panthers, right? Hashtag for the fans. And I am given the first overall pick after every single NFL team is forced to release every single starter that they have on their roster. Obviously, I'm picking a quarterback. I think that the quarterback I'm taking number 1 overall is probably Trevor Lawrence. And I know that sounds crazy, but you see what he's capable of doing at any given moment. The throw to Agnew on the sidelines, every week he does those. He's got this insane mobility at 6'6". He can read defenses. He is, we know, I mean, I feel like everyone's comfortable that his off-field persona is mostly spotless. I mean, who knows?
He's a terrible person.
I think he's a pretty good person. And I guess my point is that I would take Trevor Lawrence. Is this crazy? I would take Trevor Lawrence first overall if I was doing a draft of all available people.
That's insane.
I'd be Mahomes first, I guess. Mahomes first.
Justin Herbert. I might take Justin Herbert before anyone else.
No, sorry. I was thinking non-Mahomes version. I'm an idiot. So non-Mahomes version, Herbert would be fine, but I would go Trevor Lawrence, I think. And Joe Burrow's right there. But the ice cold take is that I'm taking Trevor Lawrence over Joe Burrow, even though it terrifies me to bet against Joe Burrow. I'm mainly doing it because of the injury history, and I think Trevor Lawrence's general physical skill set is borderline unrepeatable.
I'm looking forward to Debo's YouTube poll of Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert, and Josh Allen, and see how that.
Well, I think the one
Josh
thing
Allen's right there too, yeah.
interesting is that
I forgot about Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen.
And Ben Roethlisberger.
They're just starting to scratch the surface of what Trevor Lawrence can do. I mean, Brinson, you were tweeting about this during the game, and I think a lot of people on Twitter were shocked that, like, what was Urban Meyer doing the first 3 weeks of the season trying to run this offense that Trevor
He was
Lawrence,
on the phone with USC, Breech. You can't do two things at once.
Trevor Lawrence looked silly. This was like the whole thing about Matt Nagy and Justin Fields, how he was trying to force his offense down his quarterback's throat, even though there's no reason you need to be doing that. And so now for this game, on a 3-day short week, which is, I think, kind of caught the Bengals off guard, that they completely revamped their offense that quickly and said, all right, you know what, Trevor.
That is a red flag, by the way, on the Bengals that they weren't prepared for this.
Like, well, to be fair, it was like Urban Meyer said, hey, Trevor, call Dabo Sweeney, get your playbook from Clemson. We're going to run that here, and let's go.
I think this is, and Breech, you actually picked the Bengals to win 7 or 8 games, whatever it was, but I think this is all gravy. And we're 4 weeks into the season for the Bengals. Like, no one expected them to do this except Breech. They're 3-1. They're in first place. You take it. And by the way, this is what happened, in some sense, what happened last year.
It's gravy. You know what it is, Wilson? It's a beautiful, shiny, unveiled for the fans can of Bud Light that Breech is holding right now, because that's right. The NFL season is here to celebrate. Bud Light just unveiled their limited edition cans designed for the fans. There's a custom design for each fan base. Of course, we had some tonight. I got Panthers. Breech goes Bengals. Wilson sadly drinks a Steelers Bud Light. And
that's because he drank them all during that loss last week.
And we will crack a couple more on Sunday. They're hitting stores right now, and they're the only beer you want to have in your fridge this season. If you got friends over, perfect. You can just toss your buddy an aluminum can. You don't have to worry. Wilson can's got a glass bottle, but Steelers fans may be throwing those. And anyway, head over to budlight.com/delivery to find out how to get yours delivered now.
What I was going to say before you so politely interrupted me is that this feels sort of probably like 15% of what happened last year with Kevin Stefanski, the Browns, and that they built confidence. And it steamrolled. Well, they got to the playoffs. It's supposed to be the Chiefs, which is pretty impressive. But it parlayed itself into what we're seeing now, a team that's playing with a lot of confidence in Cleveland, who is currently still in second place to the Bengals. But my point is that this gives Zach Taylor, buys him some time, clearly, for that 8-year deal he's about to get. But it builds confidence with the other players. They didn't have T. Higgins. You can build on that. Joe Mixon went out with some sort of lower body injury. We'll see how that plays out. But Pirine came in and was just steamrolling guys because the Jaguars defense is straight up dog do. So I think it's all good. Logan Wilson might be the best defensive player in the league. He's better than Chase Young and TJ Watt put together right now. So Breech, I would imagine on a Breech Bengals scale of 1 to 10, you're like north of 8. I would feel like.
Yeah, I mean 4-0 would be a 10. So I'll say
4-0
9.
is a freaking 72. What are you talking about?
I'll say I'm a 9, Wilson, because
that sounds right.
Ridiculous.
What do you mean? He's
9. You're 3-1 after 4 weeks. You're a 9.
9 out of 10. That's pretty good.
You could absolutely. There we go.
I'm trying to avoid wheeling down.
We're reading tweets. Worst case scenario, McPherson can Jim Breech us to a win. If the worst case scenario is getting a McPherson field goal to win the game, that is a worst best case scenario. So that's exactly what happened. But no, I think that if Mixon is injured for any extended period of time, and obviously he's going to have 10 days before the next game, so that's a good thing. But he's such a huge part of the offense, and he's a big reason why they're 3-1. And he was banged up last year, and the offense just doesn't run as efficiently if he's not in there. So that's why I'm not a 10, Brinson. I'm worried about Mixon. You give me a Mixon health update, I'll bump up to a 10.
Okay. Tyler Boyd, Mixon carries over did not hit. He got 16 for 67 yards, and that was mainly because of just how the game script went. I gave out Joe Burrow under completions or passing attempts. That did not hit. Again, because of game script. Tyler Boyd over receiving yards on the podcast was a slammer, jammer. CJ Uzomah won somebody $1 million tonight. How about that?
Legitimately, or you're just over?
No, like the guy who won the $1 million in DraftKings had CJ Uzomah as his captain.
Good for him.
And then a bunch of other. I'll confirm it was.
Well, while you look that, by the way, let me.
Oh no!
Here, let me finish.
Oh yeah, CJ Uzomah won somebody $500,000.
All right, keep talking. I got the Joe Burrow over 260. Hold on, I got one more. Also got the Jaguars covering. So,
ooh, you did get that.
I was wrong. I was wrong on Trevor Lawrence.
Listen.
I was wrong on Trevor Lawrence's 2 picks, however. So
there's a guy who was in first place winning $1 million. Oh, this is tough. And he's winning $1 million, and he ends up winning $50,000, which is very nice, but not $1 million, because the two guys leapfrogged him by 0.6 points because they had McPherson who hit the game-winning field goal.
Those guys deserve the money. Then that other guy should have McPherson.
You're thinking that you're winning $1 million, and then.
And one of those guys, Jim Breech. Good job, Jim.
He would have texted me by now, I think, if he had won the $1 million.
He's on his way to Vegas.
I would hope.
I'm guessing that Jim Breech didn't have a DraftKings lineup.
You never know.
You never know.
Why wouldn't he have DraftKings? He knows the NFL better than all of us.
He's not called Good Time Jim for nothing.
That's right. Bad Time John, Good Time Jim.
Oh,
okay. Before we get to what's next for these teams, I would point out Wilson's better props. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, I'll throw some out real quick.
YouTube comment says Wilson's better on props. Yes. Wilson puts up he's like, I will take the over 190.
Every week my props are coming through. Watch HQ Wednesday night at 6:45 and watch me.
I'm on the show with you, bro. I'm watching.
And you're losing and I'm winning. Dangerous.
I think I gave out Tyler Boyd's over receiving yards, didn't I?
You made the prop. You tell me. Genius.
Oh, he caught 9 catches for 118 yards. No, a couple of fantasy notes here. Oh man, Trevor Lawrence had a putrid game. You said he was going to have over interceptions on the.
Yeah, I got that wrong. I said that while you were in.
That didn't hit. 17-24 for 204. James Robinson appears firmly entrenched as.
Well, Travis Etienne's dead, so he's not going to be.
But Robinson ran really well in this game.
He did. He ran very hard.
Front that had been trouble. 18 carries, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. Lawrence, if Trevor Lawrence, now what gets interesting is if he starts running like this every week, that dramatically changes his ceiling as a fantasy quarterback. 8 carries, 36 yards, and a touchdown.
You don't want to run it like that.
No, probably not.
You got to manage it.
Laviska Shenault, who is probably dropped in a lot of leagues this past week because he just wasn't getting a lot of run. The coaching staff, by all accounts, didn't love him. 7 targets, 6 catches, 99 yards. DJ Chark has a fractured ankle, so probably done for an extended period of time.
Oh, it was fractured. That's too bad. I was going to say he was out. I didn't know what the extent of it was.
Yeah, he was carted off. So if that's the case, then Shenault is going to be a must add because of his role in an offense for a team that should be trailing almost like 90% of the time.
I mean, and this the
Marvin
problem.
Jones' usage was very surprising here.
These guys can't get open. Like Laviska Shenault, I love Laviska Shenault. He's Anquan Bolden's what I called him since he came out of Colorado, but he ain't a burner. They don't have any burners on this team. Like the best wide receiver in this team right now is Dan Arnold, who arrived 5 days ago.
He's a tight end, yes.
Well, you still catch the ball as a tight end. The last time I checked, my point is that
if Mixon is, we haven't seen what Mixon was dealing with, right? But if he is hurt, the Bengals have the Packers, Lions, Ravens, and Jets over the next 4 weeks. That would be enticing for Samaje Perine as a pickup this coming week, just because of how aggressively the Bengals run. Almost regardless. How
much of an overcorrection is it to put Uzomah on your roster?
Tight end is terrible this year, so not crazy at all.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
I don't know how many
you should. Although Michael Irvin was on the post game like, this is the first of many multi-touchdown games for CJ Uzomah. It's like, well, let's
maybe season to the future. Who knows?
Maybe
he's from the future. That would
maybe he's the playmaker.
By the way, Breech, are you cutting Jamar Chase? He didn't have a touchdown catch this game.
I should. Because I actually thought he was going to score. You know what, though? Burrow still got his 2 touchdown passes. And you know why that is interesting? Only 3 quarterbacks ever before this year, only 3 second-year quarterbacks had thrown 2 or more touchdown passes in each of their first 4 games. Burrow, Dan Marino, Peyton Manning, and Kurt Warner.
I got another fun fact for you, Breech. You may know this, but if not, if you do, I'll just say it for the listeners.
All 3 are in the Hall of Fame. That means Burrow's going to the Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Jamar Chase has 4 touchdowns, all on vertical routes. That is 1 more than the Bengals had all of last season on the deep touchdown passes.
Yikes.
Jamar Chase, certified good.
Certified not terrible.
Certified not terrible. He's maybe the steal of fantasy. Dan Arnold, probably worth looking at.
He'll get more looks. He's been there 5 days, and he was a relatively integral to what they need to do. I don't know if
he's been there 5 days. I think it's like 3 days.
Whatever days. He's.
I was saying he was traded on Monday, and he got 2 targets for 29 yards, and Manhurts got 1 target for 7 yards. Farrell 1 for 7. Hollister 1 for 5.
Yeah, not great. I don't know. I don't know when this win's coming for this team, the Jaguars.
Okay, so next
I mean, Jacksonville has played interesting. Like now, I know this is crazy.
One way to put it.
It's crazy because look, they blew a 14-0 lead. That was the 10th biggest comeback in franchise history for the Bengals.
That's pathetic.
I mean,
14 points.
Sorry, this is the truth, Brinson. It might be pathetic. It might be that's because they never trail by that much. That's why they never trail by that.
Oh, he missed. He missed. Oh, and he made it.
But if you look at Jacksonville, just real quick, we are making fun of how badly Jacksonville ran their offense the first 3 weeks. Despite that, they played the Broncos. They were only trailing 10-7 in the third quarter, and they were up 19-10 on the Cardinals in the third quarter. So Trevor Lawrence threw just the worst pick 6 of all time. So like this team has been in it in the third quarter of 3 of their 4 games. So I wouldn't be shocked if they kind of surprised. I mean, they play the Dolphins in London. We know Jacksonville turns into the Tom Brady's, the super Tom Brady's when they go to London. They surprise everyone. They've got a game in London in 2 weeks. I could see them winning that.
Well, in 10 days, they play the Titans at home. Then they've got the the Dolphins, as a home team in London. They do get their bye there. Then at the Seahawks. Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Bills at home.
Show me something. Week 12.
At Colts versus 49ers. If they don't win this Titans game or that Miami-London game, we're probably getting to Thanksgiving without a W for them.
Maybe the Colts. I mean, we'll see. Maybe Carson Wentz and his ankles. But Week 12.
Maybe Carson Wentz in the 75% snap percentage that they get out of.
But, yeah, so if the Colts, they can't get a win in Indy, or the Falcons, they can't win at home against the Falcons, then you have the Jets in Week 16 and the Texans in Week 15. So, I mean, there are opportunities, and, there isn't except for the Browns team that lost 50 games in a row with Hugh Jackson there. There isn't a huge disparity between, as Breech mentioned, they were up 19-10 against the Cardinals. They were up 14-0 against the Bengals.
This is not an 0-17 team.
Yeah, it's
close. It does feel like.
I mean, 2 wins.
I think Trevor Lawrence is. Yeah, I agree with that. I think so.
This
It's a
team,
2-15 team.
this team is better than last year's 1-15 team only because of Trevor Lawrence, and that's
Correct.
And Ryan
But
just mentioned 50 straight losses by Hugh Jackson's Browns. He's exaggerating, but Jacksonville did just tie the record for the second most losses of the Super Bowl era. Tied the Detroit Lions, and the number one is the 1976 Buccaneers, who lost, I believe, 26.
Is that the Matt Millen winless? I mean, obviously Marty Morningway was the coach, but Matt Millen was the GM.
No, it wasn't Marty.
Their 0-16 season was included in that 19-game losing streak, and then they had 26. So they're tied for the second longest losing streak in the Super Bowl era. I think the tied for the third longest losing streak in NFL history if you go back before the Super Bowl era.
Do you want the Jaguars to break the record? I kind of do.
They'd have to lose 7 more. It's possible. That's the thing.
We just looked at their schedule. That ain't that crazy. 7 more. Their next 6, they've got 2 winnable games, maybe.
Is the Falcons? Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? The Falcons would be to tie the record. That's a winnable game.
Boy.
By the way, it was Rod Marinelli, not Morningwick, right? For the
Yeah, good call.
Yeah, I don't want
Did Marty Morningway coach them though?
Yeah, I believe he was on the staff at one point. I think he did coach him.
All right, so moving forward for the Bengals. Again, as I mentioned, Packers at home, at Lions. Breech definitely believes they can beat the Packers at home. There's no doubt about that.
Hey,
At Lions, Breech feels like that's a lock win. They have 3 straight road games, but it's at Lions, at Ravens, at Jets. Breech currently thinks that's worst case 2-1. And then they are hosting the Browns and at the Raiders. So of those 6 games, Breech.
Well, I think you just look at the 5 before the bye. Look at the 5 before the bye. The Packers, and then at Lions, at Ravens, at Jets, and then Browns at home.
What would you, as the preeminent Bengals fan on the planet, sign for heading into the bye? What would the records? You're 3-1 right now. You got 5 games before the bye. What would you sign for?
I would be. I would not be fine with it, but if they win,
I'm saying, like, right now, I offer you. This is happening. You go to the bye with it, and you don't even have to worry about watching the games. You're guaranteed. What would you sign for?
I would want 7-2.
Oh, come on.
Close out the ad.
But I feel like 5-4, most Bengals fans would be okay with that. You don't want it because that means going 2-3 in the next 5. But 5, if you told a Bengals fan in July that they were going to be 5-4 going to the Week 10 bye, they would be ecstatic.
Sign it for 5-4, you coward.
No, I'm not signing. I said 7. 6-3. 6-3.
You'd sign for 6-3.
I'd sign for 6-3.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go 3-2 in these next 5.
They could do it. They could upset.
No, I disagree with that. I guess
they could
you think
upset
they're
the
not going
Browns.
to go 3-2 in the next 5?
Well, I just think you have 2 wins on that. Like the
and
Lions,
I think
Jets.
they upset one of the 3 of the Packers.
I don't know if I'd definitely sign for 3-2. Like I might get greedy and get like
our boy Clarence is saying 5-4. He's giving them the Lions and the Jets, and I think they'll beat one of the 3 of the Packers, Ravens, and Browns.
Okay, actually, I think that. Yeah, I guess that works. You'll sign. You just give me one of those upsets. We're 6-3 going to the bye, and you're feeling very good about your playoff chances.
Here's the hope when they're 3-6.
God, that would be incredible.
Very good. And then at the end of the season, you have a span where you play 5 of 6 at home.
So do you want to read this comment, Brinson?
No, let's take some questions from the chat. Jonathan Dunn asked, which will happen first, the Jaguars win a game or Wilson stops welching and gets his tattoo?
Whoa! Oh, what a big jam!
Well, I mean, I would imagine Jonathan knows the answer to this.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to Breech. Your team's
all right, Ryan.
1.
I'll just ask Ryan on the podcast. Ryan, are you okay with a Ryan Finley face on your arm?
If you send me the mock-ups, we can talk about it.
Mock-ups cost money. I got to get a designer. It costs time. I can't get 20 pictures.
Draw something.
Sketch something out like a 5-year-old and say, this is what I'm going to pay somebody to do. Will you do this if it's X size? This is not hard.
We did that in August. We did one with a Wilson volleyball. We did one with that was your idea, Brinson.
Art.
Yeah, just give me ideas. I can take it to the tattoo artist and they can do the math. That's like asking. I'm not asking you to build me a car so I can drive home. You go to the car lot. You give me some recommendations. I go to the car dealer. Say, hey, I want a Lamborghini. You're like, oh, I got to build a car in my garage and bring it over to your house. No, dummy. Just get ideas.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like you want to build a car.
Breech. Take your hands. Pick up a crayon or a pencil or a pen.
I have a pen right here.
On a piece of paper.
I mean, dear
draw
Lord.
out in crude serial killer fashion
Yes.
3 things that you would like Wilson to get, and Wilson can say yes, no, or no,
Take it
no,
down the
no.
street.
We gotta
You
find something else.
Call a tattoo shop. I'll go right down there. And
But Ryan, do you want another? Like, do you want Ryan? Are you okay with having Ryan Finley's face on your body?
I prefer
Or
not.
would you prefer not?
prefer
Okay,
words.
see, those are things that help me.
This is expensive and it's going to take time. Ryan Finley's face. Let's just get this tattoo done and put this stupid bet to bed.
I love that we're angry at this dumb for doing the easy part.
And you're the one that people are like Wilson's welching, and I mean, at this point, I feel like Wilson might not be welching.
I will go down there this weekend and get it done. I'm waiting for this numbnut to get the wheels.
Breech, you're playing with dangerous karma not to get this taken care of.
I will draw
The
a
Bengals is
tattoo, but
3-1.
you'll see how crude these drawings are, and then you're like,
That's
well,
fine.
the tattoo artist is going to laugh at you.
No, but they're not going to take the piece of printer paper that you give Wilson and like hold it up to his body and jab it with needles.
Well, I understand that, but they're going to have to make
take it
a
and
more
redraw
confident
it
drawing.
and then
Yeah,
tattoo it on his body in small fashion.
they're going to be like, was this guy drawing a pickle? And Ryan's going to be like, no, that's a football.
No, who cares? You're going to give them an idea, and they're going to make art out of it.
And by the way, why would he care if I got something goofy on my arm? Why would he care what it looked like? Because he can't draw.
I mean, Wilson's not going to approve this like stickman stabbing of football. I mean, like it's like
3 to 5 sketches. Breech. We'll go from there. My wife.
This is actually a good idea from Lloyd Baltimore. What if you got Benson sucks?
I'm done. Get Benson sucks and graffiti style lettering done, Lloyd.
It's like F Brinson.
Yeah. God, Breech, you're so infuriating.
Sounds like
all
you're
right,
just mad
let's take some quick questions from the chat, and we'll get out of here. Caleb, if you have a question about the Bengals, Breech, the tattoo, anything, let us know. Again, youtube.com/pick6. If you're watching and you haven't hit that like button, please hit the like button. Caleb Campson asks, so is Zach Taylor a good coach now, or is Joe Burrow just coming alive?
Do you want to have the conversation that you had with Breech earlier about your Coach of the Year bet? Did you make that?
How do you have this stuff, Devo? I hate you.
Oh, there it is. Thank you, Brett. Look at it. Look at this guy. Devo is the best producer on the planet.
That is Will Brinson's private conversation with us. He trashes Zach Taylor for 3 straight weeks, and then is asking me if I think this is a good. And then he is asking me if he should make a bet on Zach Taylor to win Coach of the Year. That is Will Brinson in a nutshell.
And I did say I was a little worried about the Jags game, but if they got past that, I felt okay about it.
Let me see if did I make it?
I said if they got the 10 wins, I feel like he could probably win it. And I said, do you think they can get the 10 wins? That should dictate whether or not you make the bet.
Well, if they get to 6-3, they're a good ways there.
Yes.
It's all right. So the problem is you got to deal with if the Panthers are legitimate and can make it to 10 wins, Matt Rule will get heat. Sean McVay is definitely gonna be in the conversation.
But is he a good coach? That's the question.
Oh, is it? Well, I just meant if the Bengals win 9 or 10 games, Zach Taylor's probably getting that award.
He's getting a 4-year extension is what he's getting. That's
sure. Right. Oh my God. All right. Brandon Staley is the problem. That's right. The Charger. Yeah. So right now, show all those.
Banjo up there. Kingsbury, get him off that list.
Oh, Taylor down to 20-1. You see him moving lines, baby. If the Chargers win, win the AFC West, or what's Arthur Smith doing there? It's his first fired.
They picked up a win, man. They might go on a run. You never know.
If the Chargers win the AFC West and take down the Chiefs, it is a no doubt, no brainer. Brandon Staley.
I mean, if any team wins the AFC West besides the Chiefs, that coach is going to win it.
What is the parlay on Brandon Staley, Coach of the Year, and Justin Herbert, Player of the Year, MVP? I mean, that's the bet.
Well, Devo, click 7-1 on Brandon Staley. See if we can parlay these, and then go back to our. There we go. Look at this. You can watch this. Just intriguing live betting on.
Wow,
Devo's actually doing a great job with this. Justin Herbert's probably 15-1, I would guess right now. Oh, that's good job by me. Oh, you can't parlay them. That's a shame. But a 7-1 and 15-1 would be a hefty parlay. That's not a crazy call. If they win the AFC West, it's probably happening.
It's a done deal, as Breech just noted.
I would rather.
As Brinson said in that last podcast, he does not think the Chiefs are going to lose the AFC West.
Yeah,
if the Chiefs are around even money, I'm betting the Chiefs to win the AFC West.
But we've already determined via the commenters that I'm better with the prop bets than Brinson. So what does he know?
Those are not prop bets. Those are future bets.
The one thing I will say back to the guy's question, if Zach Taylor's a good coach, this game is a perfect example of how Zach Taylor coaches. At the end of the first half, it was F-, please fire him. Second half, it was, this guy is the best coach in the NFL. What in the heck happened?
Let's settle down.
And so I think that
He was the best coach.
They didn't look prepared.
I'm gonna put words in your mouth, Breech. You were borderline shocked at the adjustments he made at halftime.
I was as much shocked at the adjustments as I was shocked at how unprepared they looked after they got off their scripted plays off that first possession. They just didn't look ready to play in the first half, which was just shocking. It's a primetime game. It's at home. Fans are fired up because you're opening your Ring of Honor. You're unveiling that. You're honoring your old Super Bowl team. Like,
is your dad the Ring of Honor now?
No.
Oh,
that's
true. He will be. I wouldn't be I'd be at the game celebrating with the family. If he was
By the way,
Honor,
Breech, one thing to note though,
son.
and they noted this in the telecast, the Bengals defense was on the field for 87 snaps while Roethlisberger was throwing 15 interceptions last week. So they could be a little winded because they only ran 40 something.
And they didn't have Jesse Bates, their star safety,
right,
which just kind of changes the complexion of the defense.
So I'm willing to give
it was a primetime game for sure. But as Pete Prisco pointed out, he's like, Jaguars plus 7.5 is free money. You're a moron. He may be kind of right, though. This is a big letdown spot for the Bengals coming off a win over the Steelers, even at home in primetime, short week. And the concern for me with Zach Taylor is that they weren't prepared for the concept that Trevor Lawrence might run the read option. They had nothing for it. They didn't do a good job adjusting to it at halftime, and it was a lot less effective. And at halftime, they also started throwing the ball more. I don't know if that was out of game script, like being down 14-0 and being forced to throw. I tend to think it might have been versus, we can beat these guys this way and this is not working. So I guess cautious optimism on Zach Taylor not being.
I will say this, whatever your feelings about either team, it was a fun game to watch. Like
we haven't had a bad primetime game yet. It
was a great Thursday night game.
It was a great Thursday night game. It was a blast. And we recapped it right here. Breech, you get the last thought on Bengals over Jaguars 24-21.
Well, Brinson, you mentioned that I was shocked at the halftime adjustments. One reason was because going into this game, this guy's the reverse Sean McVay. He was 117-1 in his career, Zach Taylor, when trailing at the half. So like it's pretty unheard of for him to go in, adjust, and the Bengals come out firing in the second half. But now it's breaking, loser wins. And everything's coming up, Breech. So that means the Bengals are obviously going in the Super Bowl. Guys, I'll go ahead and book all our stuff for LA, and I'll get you some orange and black stripes.
Wow.
Okay.
Just all right, before we get out of here, one shocking poll result here from the YouTubes. It says 67% of the people believe that no, Ryan Wilson is welching versus 33% of the people who believe that it's Breech's fault that the tattoo hasn't happened.
Breech, you're
I would
number
say
one.
the 1% who are not recognized here probably understand that Wilson is actually welching in a very Breechian way, which is kind of ironic. Wilson's figured out a little loophole to welch without actually being a welcher by putting it on Breech, which is exactly what Breech usually does with like his bold predictions.
I guess, whatever.
No, Brinson's got the conspiracy theory. This is getting out of hand.
All right. Go draw some stuff, Breech.
Go draw some stuff.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you guys on the Pick Show tomorrow.